Hi, everyone, and welcome. As you know, we're talking to coaches, players, and really giving you a chance to meet the different student athletes at Bradley, the 220, and their coaches. And today we're very happy to talk with second-year coach of the volleyball program at Bradley University, Alicia Williams. Alicia, great to have you with us.
Yeah, it's great to be on.
Second year, you are in the process of building a foundation. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I want to give you a little chance to give us a biographical analysis of Alicia Williams, where you came from and how you got to this point.
Yeah, so I've been here for just about a year and a half, and prior to that, I was at a junior college on the other side of Iowa for 10 years. And so change was really different for me. You know, you knew your last school like the back of your hand, and you come here and everything's different. And so for me, it's a lot of learning, a lot of just kind of get thrown in. Let's see if you can make your way out of, you know, this deep water. And I thought that the players really bought into the year and just what we needed to do. But yeah, it's been a great year and a half so far.
You'll always remember your first team, won't you?
Yeah, the first team at Bradley, they're on our wall in our volleyball suite, and I think that I'll remember them because they were really great just with me and just kind of the learning curve of this is the Valley, this is how we do things here, and they just kept their heads up. And we had a little bit more of a rougher year than any of us were expecting, and so I think that was just the newness of me and of the changes that we made in our culture, and so they were phenomenal women for me to have for the first year, and they definitely will not be forgotten.
Tell me about growing up.
I grew up in a tiny town on the northern Iowa border. Sway City, Iowa is the name of the town, and we didn't have club volleyball. Four-sport athlete, played everything, and so my favorite sport was the one that I was in. And so volleyball just kind of fell into my lap a little bit, and I think for me it was we were at the state tournament. Our little 1A school made it to the state tournament, and a junior college by the name of Iowa Western, which is where I've been, they handed me a brochure and they said, hey, you can come here and we'll pay for you to go to school. And I was like, what? That is a thing? That's how small town I was. And so you know, I think that they took a chance on a small town kid and went and played there for 2 years, and that just opened the floodgates for me. That was basically my club experience, because then I had a lot of different offers, and I chose to go across the river to Creighton University, and I was there for 2.5 years, and we did some really special things there. And then my alma mater opened back up at Iowa Western, and I made my way back to Iowa Western as an assistant coach. The head coach took a job, his name's Darren McBroom, took a job at Drake University. He's still there now to this day. And I could have followed him, or I could have taken the head coaching job at 24. And I don't know why, but I decided, yeah, I'm 24 years old. I'm ready to take this head coaching job. And I was there, you know, for the 10 years after that. And so it's kind of nice that Darren McBroom is still at Drake. And so now we get to see each other. Yeah, that's kind of just how I got here and what my upbringing was like.
You had a lot of success there.
Yes, at Iowa Western, it took me a little bit of time, but the program was already really great. So I just had to make the program go from, you know, great to elite, and it took a little bit of time. But once you kind of learned what kind of recruits you need, what the competition is like, you know, once you get to the national tournament at the JC level, it's Final 16. And so for us, you know, we needed to figure out what do we need to do once we get there. But once we figured it out, I felt like Iowa Western became a really well-oiled engine, and it was a matter of executing, getting the players we need to get and executing. And so what I'm hoping is that, you know, after a few years at Bradley, we can just really learn what does it take at the level of the Valley to what kind of recruits do you need, what do you need your scouting reports to look like, what does it take to win, and then we hope that that just will produce a lot of winning here. So that's what we're really looking forward to.
You won. you had success, and the job opens up at Bradley. Tell me about the application process and how you got here.
So during the COVID year in 2020, Iowa Western played, the junior national championship was in the spring. So we played in the spring of 2021, and we ended up winning. Came in the 4th seed. We won. It was an incredible experience. It was the first time that we had won. And then fast forward to the fall of 21, we were blessed enough to win again. And so it was great that we won 2 national championships in a year. But that just kind of opened the floodgates, and I was fine where I was at. I could have been there forever, loved Iowa Western, loved the community, loved everything about it. But once you start getting a lot of phone calls and people that are like, hey, you should come work for us, the competitiveness came out in me a little bit of, at the next level, am I able to do it? And so Bradley called me, and I immediately called Carol, the prior coach, because I had a relationship with her. I'd sent some players to her, and she said, Alicia, if you picked up Bradley and moved it south of St. Louis, I'd stay there forever. I just love Bradley, love the people there. And so she just wanted to get, back south, closer to some family, and I can totally relate to that because I wasn't looking at any schools that were not within driving distance from my parents and my husband's parents. With our 2 little boys, we wanted Grandpa and Grandma close. So started to look, and Bradley was within driving distance, and so we decided to make the trek over here. My husband and I came on the interview process. He got to meet some people. I met with Dr. Reynolds, Jen Jones, Brad Chandler, and so within just the administration, I was like, yes, I feel very much at home here. I feel like we can win here. And I didn't want to rebuild. I didn't want to go through, just being in a rough spot. I felt like Bradley had put themselves on the map to be in a really good spot to win a conference championship. And so with the people and with just the opportunity of winning, I felt like it was a great fit for me.
Dr. Reynolds has produced, in his time here, 15 championships. So there is success here. And from what I see, you've got what it takes to establish the foundation and build. The recruiting process now that you have 1 year under your belt, how has that gone, and how has the portal changed things?
So the recruiting process, I think it started a little slower because it's hard to recruit players to a place that it hasn't been my home yet, and it's not my culture yet. Those things take a little bit of time. Now that I've had a year under my belt, I've had a full season, I think our recruiting has really kicked off nicely. I think that we're really excited for the class of 23 and the class of 24 that's coming in, and then just yesterday we passed the day where now you can talk to 25s, and so we're getting really excited to finally be able to sell our program. The portal has been kind of a helper for us to kind of be able to snag those people that have a little bit of experience under their belt, so we don't feel like we're starting at a very young age and trying to work up to when they're seniors. And so we've been able to get we got 2 transfers coming in the fall. One from Florida International, one from Alabama, and we think that they'll make impacts right away. And then we have 2 freshmen coming in as well that we think will develop. And so I like the way that 2023 is heading. And then in 2024, we have a little bit larger of a freshman class. So we feel that we have a little bit more room to really train and get an 18-year-old that can see 4 years here with us. And that's what we're really hoping for, is we want people to want to be at Bradley and want to stay for 4 years and really have that relationship and build that foundation so that they can be great humans in society afterwards. And I think it's hard when you're bouncing around a lot of different places. And so what we hope is that we can train not only, culturally on the court, but that we can train them just how to be young women and how to be, go out into the field afterwards and use the things that they learn, the adversity, the change, the teamwork, communication, all those, being uncomfortable, all those things, we want them to learn those things, out in the workforce too.
What that is building a culture.
Yeah, I think that for us, culture has been really huge. And that's something that a lot of people might just see wins and losses last year. And they see that, the year we were picked to finish, I think, 4th in the league, and we finished 8th. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's such a down year for us. And we were rebuilding a culture from scratch. And yes, there are a lot of things that people do similarly in cultures. There's a lot of the same talk. There's a lot of the same goals, but when you have a new sounding board and a new leader, it's going to take time. And so for us, I think we weren't prepared for the time that it's going to take. But in this off season in the spring, I think we just really worked hard on, we're going to make this important because we know that that's what we were missing. It wasn't that we were missing, a physical body. We were missing that just intuition with each other of we've built a really solid foundation on XYZ, and those things are going to be the byproduct of winning.
Right.
So.
And family. I mean, that is so important. They're away from home. And you have seen this in your career and in your coaching career thus far. When you come here, 220 student athletes, and it's family because you're supported by other student athletes from other sports.
Yeah, and I think too, it's just very important for them to understand that we are here for them as a family. And so when I came in, it was almost like you think of a family and someone inserts themselves as mom. That's not easy for someone. And so that's kind of the feeling that we had where, they wanted to play for me. They enjoyed the way that we trained, the things that we talked about. But it took a little bit of time for them to warm up to the fact of Alicia is part of our family. She's not just this person telling me what to do. And so being at a junior college, the turnover rate is a lot more. So I'm used to, hey, we go in hard. Year 1, we're becoming family right away. And they were like, what is that? And so they were like, is she being real? And I'm like, yes, I want to spend time with you. I want to talk with you. I want to have coffee with you. I want to, do these things to build this relationship. So then when I ask you to be uncomfortable, you know that I want to do it because I want to do what's best for you, not because I just have some kind of hidden agenda of how we're going to win. I think getting the fullness out of the player as a person and why they want to play volleyball that's my job, to get the fullness out of that potential. And so I think for us, that was hard because we had to build that culture from the ground up. But I do think that we've really established it. We have some just non-negotiables. We have some standards in place. We have better relationships and more genuine relationships too. I think that they didn't understand that, I don't want to step on toes, but then also, sometimes are you helping the one person but hurting the entire team? We had to really sift through that and decide if that was the case. And so I think they were really on board. I think we're in a really good place right now. And I think we're going to see more wins come out of that because we have that good foundation.
You have a terrific alumni group from years gone by, and you have people that come out and want to support you. And our fans are such a big, big part of that.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing too that we really want to grow because these alumni and fans are like, who is this person? And they need to get to know me too. And so I think that we've been trying to work really hard to reach out and get to know these people. And I think for me as an alumni at Creighton, I still know the coach. She's still there. I still care for her. And so for me to want to go to the games or even donating or being a part of that community is still near and dear to me. For me, I have to go and meet these people and get to know them and tell them why it's so important for them to continue to support us in a lot of different ways, whether it's being in the seats or supporting us financially or however it is. Just coming to games, I think, is huge. And just the local community, I think, is a really big, important piece for us right now. And just making sure that we're getting out, we're getting our faces seen, we're making sure that they understand who we are, what our goals are. And so we really think that this year we'll be able to take some really big strides with our alumni and with our community.
Thanks for getting together and letting people get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, and I'm glad that I got to be on here, and I've really enjoyed my time here, and I'm very excited to be here at Bradley.
Folks, I've watched programs start from where Alicia started, and in getting to know her and watching the way she deals with her student athletes, there is not a doubt in my mind that there's a trophy coming in the Missouri Valley Conference in the future, one day at a time, one game at a time, one match at a time. And so we want you to be out at Renaissance Coliseum and see them, or go on the road. When they play Illinois State, beat them twice last year.
We hope to do that again.
So again, support our volleyball program and watch them grow and watch them win. For Alicia, this is Dave Snell. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back at another time to learn more about Bradley athletics. Have a great day, everybody.